Greetings, fellow sentient board game pieces. Tiki here.
And Jacob Wile too.
And welcome to another episode of Tiki's Universe. It's the show where we react, respond, and review each and every episode of... Wait, did I say Steven Universe or Tiki's Universe? I said Steven Universe, didn't I?
You said Tiki.
Did I? Oh my god, I am so messed up, Jacob. I am so messed up today. Wow. Okay, we review each and every episode of Steven Universe, but we also talk about Star vs. the Force of Evil. Yeah!
Woo!
All right, I'm so messed up. I just completely botched the intro. So, okay, Jacob, we are on episodes 11 and 12 of Season 2. We're talking about episode 11 right now, called Starsitting. This was a pretty interesting week, Jacob, because I feel like we got the typical, formula of a Star versus Force of Evil episode with this episode, which was basically Star and Marco kind of tasked with an assignment and magic causes things to go awry and whatnot. But then the next episode was really kind of it basically had virtually the same premise as this one, except we got to see it from the other side. So I think it's really cool how this show is employing these, they're doing the 2 episodes a week format, the 2 11-minute episodes. That was, of course, something that Nickelodeon employed with stuff like Rugrats and all that. But they're doing it, and they're really taking advantage of that format because every set of episodes is kind of thematically tied into each other, which I think is really interesting.
Definitely shows how they're trying to tie in these themes together. They can stand on their own, but also go together.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And of course, just goes to show how much corn is important to the storyline, but we'll get into that more in the second episode.
Corn.
Corn is like the spice of the Dune franchise with Star versus the Force of Evil. Anyways, so we start the episode with a really cool set piece. I thought this, it looked like Star and Marco were on this giant game board, and they were kind of playing a combination of Chutes and Ladders and Candyland. And I love this gag where Star rolls a 6, and then she stops at 5, and at 5 she gets to go down all these slides, and she really wants to go to 5, not 6.
Marco then reprimands. It's you have to follow the rules.
Which is interesting because I think that's something that Marco and Tom were directly talking about in the episode that Tom showed up.
Yeah, Star makes her own rules.
Right. Okay, but
not sure if that's an intentional callback, but definitely interesting to bring up, considering how she changes her own rules for her own benefit or fun.
Which is, of course, kind of one of the big themes of the episode. But then we get that kind of pull out where we see... I love this, Jacob. This is one of my favorite visual gags of the season so far. We have a regular-sized Star and Marco playing on a regular-sized game board with miniature Star and Marco game pieces that are sentient and can talk.
Yeah, they even talk to each other.
Oh, God. I love that. I want a Star versus the Force of Evil Candyland combined with Chutes and Ladders board game. I would totally buy that.
Just for the novelty?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So we get Butt Frog showing up for the first time.
Did you call it? It's Buff Frog? Did you call it Butt Frog? Or did you say Buff Frog?
Is it Buff Frog?
Yes.
I thought it was Butt Frog. I apologize. I need to change the episode description then. Let me go ahead and change that right now. For some reason I thought it was Butt Frog.
Nope.
Wow. Talk about a dyslexia moment on my part, Jacob. That's all I can say. Wow. That makes so much more sense. Because all throughout these 2 episodes, I was like, why are they calling him Butt Frog? Is that some sort of nickname? Is there some sort of joke I'm not getting? Okay, that makes so much more sense, Jacob. I'm an idiot.
Yep.
Okay, and I'm literally going to go back and change the episode description right now. But take it away, Jacob. What's going on with Buff Frog?
Yep. So Buff Frog comes in and he's having a problem. As it turns out, as we'll see in the next episode, he has a job that needs to be done so he can take care of his little tadpoles.
Especially my most beloved tadpole, Katrina.
And so the only people he can trust to take care of them due to their recent partnership in Storm the Castle is Star and Marco.
Mm-hmm.
And so he gives them a schedule to follow and goes off onto his job, which we will find out more in the following episode.
I really love how they play with that, man. I really love how it's kind of like they leave it a bit of a mystery. You know, they're kind of like, oh, what exactly is he doing? Is it kind of airing a little bit more on the? Because keep in mind, this is the guy like in season 1 we had a whole episode around him, kind of like turning away from Ludo's side, and Marco and Star kind of rehabilitating him to a certain extent. So, all right. Anyways. So, you there?
Yep, I'm here. But
Okay,
I thought you were gonna say something.
No. Okay, so yeah, they left instructions. So we have this. I have all the names written down. So there's Boris, Alexei, Anastasia, Dmitry, Anna, Igor, Mikhail, Leo, Irania, Nadia, and Sergey. And then, of course, there's Katrina.
Little Katrina.
Little Katrina, the most important one of all, the most adorable tadpole of them all. First of all, it also, we get Marco kind of imitating Buff Frog, which is hilarious. Babies have a routine, they schedule. Kind of talking about Star getting them off of the routine. By the way, I'm just going to call it right now, Buff Frog is totally the Colossus of this show. Just absolutely.
What do you mean?
I mean, he's like a Russian guy with a heart of gold. What can I say?
Oh yeah.
4 or 5 moments, Marco. You get 4 or 5 moments to be a hero. Okay.
Yeah, nice.
So, just really, really fun animation from Star all throughout the episode. There's a great moment where all these hearts keep emanating from her cheeks. Like, in just this ridiculous, like, just this constant flow of hearts.
Yeah, because she thinks they're so cute.
Of course.
They are cute. They are cute for little tadpole monsters.
And what is the one thing that Star wants to do to these tadpoles, Jacob? I almost called you Marco.
She wants to boop them. She wants to boop them.
Yeah, she wants to boop them. Just one boop!
They look so bad!
Oh, God. So, yeah, she boops...
Well, we're skipping the whole... the lunch scene hasn't happened yet. The first thing I had to do is put them to sleep.
Yeah, right.
And
I'm
then
sorry, we're kind of jumping over it a little bit. Yeah, you're right.
It's like sleep, then eat, then sleep again.
Babies have a routine and a schedule, Deadpool. But,
and thus like, I'll make the lunches and you watch the babies. Like, why can't I fix the lunch? You want to make 12 lunches? I'll watch the babies.
But yeah, Star, she's really trying. She's really trying not to boop. She's trying to resist the boopage, but she boops. She boops bad.
Little Katrina.
Yep. And this is kind of interesting. It kind of starts a chain reaction of croaking. And Marco says in the book, well, that's okay because in order to stop them from croaking, you have to give them their lunch. And Marco's got their lunch all prepared.
Which looks nasty.
Yes. It's just like, basically what I imagine it is like basically baby bottles filled with just, basically Marco went to a swamp and just scooped out shit from a swamp and put it into the baby bottles.
Well, considering they're frogs, it kind of makes the baby.
Of course.
Frog, it kind of makes sense, I guess.
It just looks like swamp sewage. But anyways.
I was thinking like sludge, but that works too.
Oh, sure.
And thus for that, Star's like, I'm not feeding that to my babies. First of all, they're not her babies to begin with, so that's kind of a problem.
Right.
I think that kind of point that out. Those aren't her babies to begin with. So
then we have the image that we're using for the episode of the.
She decides to feed them cake.
Not a good idea. Leads to an overload on sugar and explosive vomiting of frosting.
Not a good idea there.
Yeah.
On her part, I can't. Marco's against it. You can't feed babies cake. You can't feed babies cake.
Oh, God.
and now we see why.
Yep.
It doesn't look, especially baby tadpole monsters.
Although I will say, fucking baby bottles filled with cake, not a bad product idea. Get on it, Disney. Get on it.
For older people, not for babies.
I don't know. I'm just saying it sounds like a fun gimmick.
It's like baby bottle pops.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But with cake.
Okay.
And so she decides to prepare a bath.
Probably a good idea, considering all the explosive vomiting that's going on everywhere.
Her first sensible thing that she's done this entire episode.
Right.
So she conjures one on top of a table and she destroys it.
And then Butt Frog calls. I love Star's delivery. It's like Marco's like, you better answer it. And Star's like, I don't know, Jacob. There's just something about this delivery. She's just like, but I don't want to answer it.
Again playing on the dog episode, running away from her problems.
Of course.
Or in her words, taking a break.
Right. And then I love this. We have the ringtone music. And
which calms down the tadpoles from their explosion fit.
Explosive vomiting.
That too.
Of frosting.
Yeah, and so in their calmness, they're able to actually get them washed and calm down and sleeping again, or at least just calm down.
And this is an interesting little bit of foreshadowing, Jacob. Star sends a photo to them, or to Buff Frog, and she says, say corn. So, I don't know, Jacob. This corn thing is kind of, like, is it the first time it's showing up on the show? I want to say it's not the first time it's showing up.
I don't know. It might have been vaguely hinted at in the previous episode. Maybe in Mutindependence Day. I have no idea.
Right, yeah. Maybe Mutindependence Day. I'd have to rewatch that episode, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Let us know in the comments, folks, because corn has suddenly become like a really hot commodity in the plot over the past couple episodes.
So what happens next is that she sends the picture saying like, "Good luck in your new job, Daddy. We believe in you."
Oh God!
Which is actually really cute.
I love how that ties into the other episode too. This episode has such a cool way of tying into the episode that comes after it.
Yeah, it's parallel. They're parallels. So after that, what happens is suddenly they sprout their legs.
Yep.
All except Katrina.
Poor little Katrina.
Yeah.
So there's kind of a big mad scramble to catch all the frogs. Buff Frog's going to be back in 4 minutes. Catch all the baby tadpoles, I should say.
Yep. And that's Star running up in the stairs and Star sliding after them on the rails.
But then one of the tadpoles is missing, Jacob, and it's horrible. It's horrible because
Katrina's missing.
Little Katrina! Anyone but little Katrina!
Yes.
Oh, God.
So they, remembering the advice from earlier, what happened earlier, they decide to use music to organize them and have them search for the missing tadpole.
And Disney, if you're listening, I want this song as a single, please.
I think it's already available. You've heard of Perry Griffith. It's a song that's available on the internet. It's called Space Unicorn.
Is it? Okay. I'm going to totally look it up because it's catchy as hell. I mean, it's totally like a guilty pleasure kind of catchy, but it's absolutely catchy.
Yep. I think it's a legit song, too.
Okay, fair enough. It totally fits Star. That's the great thing about it. It's totally like the song Star would have as her ringtone.
If you notice, it was previously used in Cheer Up Star as a ringtone, as Marco's ringtone.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Remember, it's supposed to be ironic.
Yes, I do remember that. Okay.
So,
Space Unicorn, soaring through the stars, delivering the rainbows all around the world.
so it actually Marco decides to flex around a little bit and bend his own rules a little bit, and they can both say they learned a valuable lesson in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So what Marco decides to do is he decides to go the fun way of having the rules and organizing them to flex around and look for Katrina. So what happens is it turns out she's hiding on the very top of Star's room.
Yep.
Surrounded by bear traps.
This might be the best gag of the episode, I think.
She's like, you're afraid to tell Jackie Lynn Thomas you have a crush on her, but you're not afraid of bears?
Oh God.
Star's kind of illogical. They're like, why would bears be inside her house?
So Star just goes ahead and throws the binder at the bear traps, and that could have led to very horrific circumstances if it didn't go well.
She could have just magicked them away.
That's true. That's very true. But she's kind of in a panic. Oh God. Oh God.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so Buffalo comes back, and
we don't actually see what happens yet.
No, you're right. You're right. It very much cuts away, and so it's kind of like, oh, Jesus, oh God.
So we see Buff Frog returning from his job.
Yeah, and he really kind of just sobs at the sight of the baby's feet, and I love how Buff Frog being so emotional about the kids is, again, it's tied back into the next episode that we're gonna see.
How he missed their most important developmental stage.
But it's okay because little Katrina hasn't grown her legs yet.
And then she immediately does.
Yeah.
It turned out to be buff legs too.
Yes, I love that.
Katrina has buff legs.
Just like her pawpaw.
Just like her pawpaw.
So they give the binder back, and a bunch of bear traps fall out of the binder.
And they have new pictures, the pictures they took and all that.
Right. I will remember this like something I will never forget. And then, Jacob, I've got to admit, this last little tag on to the episode, I honestly didn't even think we needed it. It's just kind of like Star and Marco playing the board game again and reiterating, that's right, forget about the rules and focus on having fun, but don't forget entirely about the rules because rules make the fun that much sweeter. And then I just have written down, yeah, moral and whatnot. I don't know. To me, it's just kind of annoying when cartoons do that. At the episode, they're just hey, in case you didn't get it, this is what we're trying to say about the characters.
Well, it was their board pieces, remember? They were the ones saying while they were actually sleeping.
Okay, fair enough. That makes it a little better.
This is she's like, well, that's just so they realize that.
Right. Okay, fair enough. Okay. You know what? I didn't even catch that, so I'm going to give it a pass then, because that is kind of clever, if that's the case. All right.
It was your talking board pieces again.
Right. Okay. I'll give it a pass then. I'll give it a free pass. I don't like that in general with cartoons when they try and kind of spell out the message in the last 30 seconds, but if they're making a gag about it, then I'm perfectly fine with it.
Yeah, they did.
Okay, so anything else to say about Starsitting? Any final thoughts?
No, other than the season definitely is still proving to be quite an interesting one.
Yeah, it's really interesting how it's I've said this before, but we kind of broke the status quo of season 1 by basically having Ludo off on his own and with a new wand and everything. So he's not even thinking at all about getting Star's wand. He's kind of doing his own thing in the background, which we'll talk about when we get into the next episode, where he shows up for a grand total of about 2 seconds at the end. But,
spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Okay.
But
this episode, like I said, Jacob, I think this episode, I think this is kind of a thing that this show is starting to do more and more, is have one episode, basically the first episode usually, be the kind of classic traditional Star vs. Force of Evil formula with, Star and Marco and magic antics and all that. And then the second episode kind of takes on a more out there premise. And of course, I think the best example of this is the season premiere where we had My New Wand, which was the, Marco locked in a closet and started using magic to get him out and everything like that. By the way, where the fuck is Glossaric? Glossaric hasn't been here in 4 episodes. I find that unacceptable. I just realized that. We've been going 2 weeks without Glossaric.
Yes.
Anyways.
Hashtag Glossaric, we miss you.
Okay. And we're gonna have to wait until September to see Glossaric again now. That's tragic. Okay. anyways, so folks, thanks for joining us. We will continue on with this pretty much immediately. We will be getting into the next episode, which is On the Job. Thanks for joining us, and until then, see you later. And for God's sakes, don't let any tadpoles near any bear traps. Okay, it's just simple. Just don't have bear traps in your home. Period. And if you do, don't leave them on the floor. All right, that's just simple. Just no bear traps, people. Come on now. Come on.